Yeah, let me share my screen 1 second. So let's try to understand what is an observable. So what is an observable means, as we already discussed in our previous session. Just think of something like this simply. So when you're trying to do, then you will be able to understand. So you will be having an observable. Okay, you will be having a sender. Okay, you will be having a sender, and you will be having a receiver. So this is a sender and this is a receiver, of which this sender will try to send the data. The sender will be sending the data. So whatever the data, multiple data he will be trying to send, or otherwise he may be sending the single data only. The receiver, whoever subscribes to this sender, okay, whoever subscribes to this sender will able to receive this data. So this is nothing but an observable. So this one is called as an observable, and this guy is called as an observer. We will be calling this one as an observer or subscriber or receiver, whatever the name. So the terminology, all are one and the same only. Here we will be calling it as an observable. Observable means so which sends the data, and here observer means who observes the data. So this is the concept of the observables. So observables, we can say it as a stream of data. It will send you the stream of data. Stream of data means, for example, let's say that you are having a item, normally a promise. So you will be having a promise. The promise, what it will try to do, it will try to send the data, okay, and you will receive the data, finish. That's it. This promise task is finished. Again, if you want to do it, means again you need to create a new promise, and again it will send the promise data and finish. So that means this one will send only one time, single data only. Okay, single data. So that's it. Promise is finished. Whereas an observable, so you will be having an observable at the end, and you will be having a receiver who receives the data. Observable will send the data, and this observable will not be finished. Observable, if the observable wants to send again the data, means it will send again the data, and receiver will again receive the data. So that means the observer will be live all the time, and also the receiver also will be live all the time. So this is the 2 points you need to understand. 1 second. This is the main difference between an observable and a promise. So promise will send the data, and it will send the data, and the other end you will receive the data. That's it. The connection and all those things is completed. So it will send only one time. That's it. So when you are initiating the request, it will try to get the request, and it will send the request. That's it, finish. Whereas an observable will try to send you a stream of data. Stream of data means it will send you data, and it will send you the data continuously. So whenever you want, you can send the data. Whenever you want to complete it, you can complete it manually. Okay. So this is the difference between observable and then promise briefly. Now let's try to see in Angular why we will be using these observables. If you try to see our code in our anywhere home page or anything, if you try to see here, the observables is not an Angular core concept. So the observable concept came from the RxJS. So this is called as an reactive JavaScript. Okay, reactive X JavaScript. So reactive extensions library for JavaScript. So you will be having RxJS for so many libraries we will be having. So we can have RxJS for what I can say, for Java, for .NET, for PHP. So all the languages you are having. For for JavaScript, we will be calling it as an RxJS, RxJava, RxPHP. So for other teams, we will be calling. So now we understood about the observables, and also we have understood about the observer. What is an observer means? Observer will consume the values delivered by an observable. So it will receive the values delivered by an observable. Observable means these are nothing but, what I can say is, he is telling an example. So this will only sends the data. So this is about an observable. Angular heavily uses this Angular observables concept. Angular completely depends on the observables only. So this one entirely is an observable. So if you try to see the package.json file, here you will be having an RxJS, which is a version 7.5.0. RxJS completely uses this one. Sorry, Angular completely uses this one. Now let's try to see. So if you go to our edit user, Okay. So here you have subscribed, right? So here you have subscribed. So that means this one is an observable. Okay, this one is an observable, and this data is called as an observer. So whenever this params sends the data, so we are subscribing to this one. So that means we are subscribing. So now this data has become an observer. Okay. So now this data has become an observer. Now it will receive the data. Now it will receive the data, and whatever the params is sending the data, it will try to receive it, and it will try to do the logic according to this one. So this is called as an observable. This is nothing but an observable and observer. So I will try to show you what I can say is how we can create an observable, or RxJS, what are the observables it will having. I will try to show you. Let's try to see this one. So we have an home component. Okay. Now if we go into this one, Angular routing, let's say here we are in home component. In RxJS, normally in NG or init, in RxJS we have an interval. Okay. So this interval, what it will try to do is, it will take, so here you will be able to see interval imported from the RxJS. So interval for every 1000 seconds. Okay. It will send, it will, so this is an observable. Let's say that this is an observable. Okay. This is an observable. So now for every 1 second, this interval will send you a data. Data means nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Count, it will send you the count. Observable. Observable is sending the data. Now I need to subscribe to this observable. So what I can do here, observable dot. So we need to have an observer. Okay. If you want, you can have an observer. Observer is equal to, or otherwise, I'll try to tell you simply. So observable dot subscribe, you will subscribe to this data. Subscribe means, so for this observable, I am subscribing to this data. So you will get a data, and let's try to console.log data. Okay, that's it. If you try to see the output, let it refresh. So now you will be able to see an output of 0, 1, 2, 3. We are able to send the data. So now observable is trying to send the data for every 1 second, and here we have subscribed to this data. So here you can write on console.log observer 1. Okay, so this is an observer 1. So we can also have another observer also. So now observable, for the same observable, I am subscribing. Second guy is also subscribing to this one. So he will also receive the data. So this guy is an observer 2. Observer 2. And here I can write console.log of data. Okay, that's it. So now if you try to observe the output, so here you will be able to see so both observer 1 and observer 2 are receiving the data 1, 2, 3 like this. So that means there are, now here if you try to understand, we are having an observable which is sending data 1, 2, 3 at a particular interval of time, something like for every 1 second it is sending a data 1, 2, 3. And here we are having two observers, 1 and 2. So they have subscribed to this observable, and now whatever the data it is sending here, so 1 it is receiving by this one, and also 2 also, observer 2 also receiving the data. So two of them simultaneously are receiving the data, so that they can do the logic whatever they want. So this is the thing I want to show you here. See, both the observer 1 and observer 2 are able to receive the data. So this is the concept of the observables. Now here, so we have used inbuilt interval of time, and now I am subscribing to this one, and observable 2, this is an observer 2 subscribing. So like this, if you have an observable, you can subscribe to that one, so that whenever this observable is sending a data, so you can receive the, whoever are subscribing to that one, they can receive the data. So this is nothing but an observable concept. Now you need to understand another concept, that is nothing but what I can say is, for example, I have refreshed this one. Now I am in the home component, so that is the reason this observable has invoked. Fine, I went into the about us. Okay, still this observer is running. If you try to see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but we are not in the home component. You try to understand, we are not in the home component, but still the home component logic is executing. So this is the home component, but still these observables are executing. Okay, now if I try to move to the home page again, if you try to see here, see, now we are able to see 28 2. So that means double times it has been executed. So let's try to make it as single observable only. You will get confused. again it has been reinitiated. So for example, let's say that we have got one observer 1 0 1 like this. I went to the about us, so still it is working, still the observable is working. I went back to the home, so now this one has invoked again. So from it again, starting from the 0, the previous observable is again executing, so it's still executing the previous observable, but still a new observable was created, and this observable has a new subscription, so that one is behaving differently. Now if I go to the about us and if I come to the home, again another one is created with a 0, so we are able to, so it is going on replicating, multiplying. So whenever I am coming to the home, whenever I am leaving to the component, already existing observable is not getting destroyed, and also when I am coming again to the component, the old observable is still staying, and also a new observable is created, and a new other observable is created, so that these observables are going on executing. So if you are having a large application or anything, so if you move like this, and if you move on to a home page like this, see now how many times these are going to fire. So you cannot imagine. So these many observables has been created. So this creates a memory leakage. So you need to be very careful about while using this observables concept. So you should be very careful in Angular when you are using observables. See, when you are going out of the component, you can't think that this observables has destroyed. So these observables will be working on the backend itself. So in the backend, you will be able to understand. So we will not do the console.log, right, all the time. So you will be assuming like this, but this one is going on executing like this. By seeing the console, we are able to understand. See how many times it is going on firing. So if I go on like this, so many instances will come. See, so like this it will go on fire. So now if you are having a big application, so multiple times if the user is rotating into the particular page, means if you are having an observable which is not destroyed, so this is not destroyed. Always when you are coming to the component, it is creating again and again. So this could create a memory leakage issue. So that is the reason you should be very careful. So what you need to do is, this one is, you need to create a variable that is nothing but an count subscription. Whatever the name you want, you can keep it. So I am keeping it as an count subscription of type subscription. Okay, so you can maintain it as a must and should operator if you want. And here you are having this one, right, dot subscribe, and in this one you can write this dot count subscription. Now when we are leaving this component, so when we are leaving this component, what is the lifecycle hook it will be executed? Ng on destroy. Okay, on ng on destroy, you can write this dot count subscription dot unsubscribe. So you need to unsubscribe. So whatever the observables you are subscribing, you need to unsubscribe in the ng on destroy. So this is the important thing. Now here if you go into this one, so now we are executing 1 2 3, and I went to the about us. See, now it has been stopped. So up to 3 the component has been gone, so it has stopped. When I go to the home again, a new observable will be created again. So now again it will start from 0 1 2. So this is how you need to do. Previously it was not stopped. So when I go about us, then if I come to the home also, the old observable is still executing, and when I come to the home, again a new observable is created, and again it is executing. So these are going on multiplying. Now if I go to the about us, immediately it will be stopped. See, up to 19 it has been stopped. Now if I go to the home again a new observable will start. So this is how it should be. So you need to be unsubscribed. Now in the edit user.component.ts, you can understand that we are subscribing to this one. So now we need to unsubscribe for this one, right? Here you need to understand that one thing, this one is not the observable that we have created. Here is an observable that we have created. Okay, so this is the observable that we have created. So this observable, this root.params is created by the Angular. So Angular clears itself in a such a way that, so the Angular's observables automatically, when you are going out of the component, so it will unsubscribe automatically. So there is no need to write these observables, Angular observables. So there is no need to write unsubscribe. If you want, you can write it. For example, here I can say params subscription of type subscription. So I can take it like this, param subscription. So I can make it as a mandatory. So I can take this one, this dot param subscription, and in ng on destroy, and I can write this dot param subscription dot unsubscribe. I can write unsubscribe. That's it. If you go into this one, so nothing will happen. Everything will work finely. Okay, if I go to the users, okay, this should be logged in. If I go to the users, now we need edit. So everything will log. Without any problem, everything will work. So this is what about the observable concept. So these we will be using very much heavily in an observable. So now what we'll try to do is, I will try to so how we can create our own observable. So this is way beyond actually the concept. I will try to show you here. So we can create a new observable by our own using the new observable. Okay, let's try to show you the demo or otherwise. So if you want to create a new observable, this is an RxJS inbuilt observable. So this one will create an observable like this. So if you want to implement this interval, so I can implement in such a way that if you want to create an observable, we can use new observable of, okay, and this one will have an observer. So this one will receive an observer or subscriber. So whatever the thing you want, we can mention it. And here I can write set interval, and at the top I can have a count. Let count is equal to 0. And here I can write for every 1000. So here I can write console.log or otherwise subscriber. So dot next. So when we want to send the data, so dot next of count plus plus, we will send the data count plus plus. That's it. So now we have implemented the interval code using our own new observable. So we have created observable. I am trying to run set interval for every 1 second, and it will try to send the count value incrementing subscriber dot next. Now I am subscribing to the same observable. The same thing happens. This is the one thing. So so if I try to refresh this page, the same thing happens here. So now it will start from what happened to this one? Is done saved. Home about us. Okay, fine. So from 0 onwards, it will try to fire it. So for example, if you want here all the time, if you want to send a data, means here I can send Leela. Okay, all the time for every 1 second, it will try to send you the data Leela. So for example, let's say, see, for every second, it will for every 1 second, it will try to send the data. So now interval concept, how it was implemented is in the behind, it was implemented like this only. It will try to send the data count plus plus. Now it will try to send the data. So now if you try to see here, observer 0, observer 1, observer 2, so like, so this is about this is how we will be creating an observable. This is about this observable concept. So now you need to understand one thing is, so whenever you are using a subscribe in an Angular, you need to unsubscribe it. Okay, no matter what it is. So if you are not sure that this may create a memory leakage in the browser, if you are sure, if you are not sure that this observable will be handled by the Angular, if you are not sure like that, means it's better you unsubscribe that one. Like root params and all those things, you are sure that Angular will handle those cases. So then you can, 1 second. Yeah, you can unsubscribe this one. So this is what I want to say. This is all about the observable concept. So if you want to discuss about the observable concept, there are more about this observables thing. I don't want to go beyond this one. We have already so much of data in this one. So observers, operators. Now next we need to discuss about the operators thing. So operators means in observables, what is this operators is, for example, let's say. So now we understood what is an observable and all those things. Now here what I am trying to do. So here let's say that we are having a data, we are getting a data. That is nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. We are getting a data. So now what I want to do is I want to multiply this data with 2, or otherwise I want to multiply data into 2. So what I will do here, I will take the data in a such a way that, so let modified data is equal to data into 2. So that means we are getting not data. So let's say that count, so that you will be having. So I am getting a count. I will multiply this count into 2 and I will modify data. I will try to console.log. Okay. Count of type number. So we can keep count of type number, and this observable will send a number. So now this on everything. So like this, we need to have a type safety. So you need to understand. Okay. So this one observable will be sending a data of type number, and here the count number, so that it will be multiplied by 2. So like this, you need to use it, generics thing. Now if you go into this one, now we are able to get 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 like this. So we are able to get the multiples of 2. So we have did some logic. So here in the subscription, so we have did some logic, right? So that means we are taking the value which is coming from the observable, and we are trying to modify the data, and we are consoling that one. So now here this logic and all those things are not related in this subscribe thing. So just it needs to print the count itself. That count should be whatever the thing count, you need to decide it. So these all the things will be taken care by the operators. If you want to manipulate the data that is coming from the observable, so that means what I can say is, for example, in simple words, what I can say is, so here is an observable. Okay, here is a subscriber, observer, which is getting the data, which is receiving the data. Observable is sending the data to value, but the observer doesn't use the raw value that was sent by the observable. He is doing some manipulations. So 2, he is multiplying with the 2 and he is making it as a 4, or otherwise he is checking that whether the value sent is an even number or not. If it is an even number, I want to receive it, or otherwise I want to skip it off. Okay, so like this, he wants to do some manipulations. So he want to receive some of the data which is relevant to his only. So in between this one, we will add another filter that is nothing but an operators. These are called as an operators. So now first this observable sends the data to this operator, and this operator will do the manipulations, whatever the manipulation you want it. So now this 2 value, it has been received. So I want to multiply with the 2. Okay, 4 has came, and this 4 value will be sent to the observer, and he will console the dog. Okay, whatever he wants, he will do that one. He will send it to the component, or whatever the thing he wants, he will do it. So here in between these operators, so we will be doing this one. So for example, let's say that we will be sending the data here 1, 2, 3 like this. It will check here, the operator will check that this observer want to receive only the even number. Okay, he wants to receive only the even number. When this value 1 is received, here the operator will check that whether it is an even number or not. If it is an even number, then it will send it to the observer. If it is not an even number, then it will drop here only. Now observer will not receive that odd number like 1, 3 and all those things. He will receive only the 2. So the observer will receive only the 2. So the operators will be in between the observable and observer, manipulating the data, how the subscriber needs the data. He will manipulate the data or filter the data or do whatever the things logic you want here, you will do it, and you will receive that modified data into an observer. So this is the use of these operators. So there are operators, there are about hundreds of operators are there. What are operators? So here these are called as an operators. Filter, it will filter the things. So here you will be able to see, I will try to show you. So here if you come down, you will be having these all are the operators. Here we have seen about the interval operator, one of the operator we have seen it. So here you will be able to see way operators, so many operators are there. Okay. So each operator has its own usage count. So how many values has been sent by the observable. So it will try to count the number of emissions by the observable. Okay, so it will count the number of values that has been sent by the observables, and that operator will try to send the count only. For example, let's say that in our paint only, we'll try to show you. So now here there is an observable, and here it is a subscriber. Okay, here is an observable. Now it is going on sending the data 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. Now the subscriber doesn't want this all data. So just it want that total number of values that has been sent. That's it. I want that total number of values. So now it up to 100 it has sent and it has stopped. So now I want to know the total number of values it has been sent. That's it. I don't want this all the each value. I don't want to receive it, and I don't want to do the manipulation. I just want the total number of values. In between this one, so you will be having an operators. Now each value will be sent to this operator. Operator will not send it to the subscriber. It will try to count the values. So okay, it has sent 1 plus 1. It will try to do plus 1. Okay, 2. It will count 2, 3. Like this. When this last value is emitted and it is completed, so it will have the total count values and it will send this 100 to the subscriber. So that subscriber can receive that count value and he can tell that total number of values emitted by the observable is 100. So this is how the operator will be very useful for us. So this is the example of this count operator. So here you'll be able to see observable is sending the value A, B, C. So A, B, C values has been sent. After this completion, the count operator, in between this one, count operator is there. So count operator is there means, so total number of values, what it has been sent? 3 values. So now the output will be 3. So this is the diagram what they are trying to show us. So here if you try to see, like this, you'll be able to see the example also. So if you want to refer these all the things, you can refer these all the operators if you can check it. Okay, we cannot go through one and one each one of these operators. So the time will go away. So these are all about the operators thing. So I will try to show you some basic two of these operators which we will be using more often in our Angular. I will try to show you. So for example, let's say that we are having a subscribe. Now I want to multiply the values with 2, or otherwise I want to add a 2 to that value. Adding. So count should be count plus 2. So now this one, what it is trying to show, Angular routing. So it is going on sending the values, right? So whenever it is trying to send the value, okay. So now I want to append Leela at the back of this one, or otherwise first we'll try to do the count. So here in between this observable and the subscription, here you will be having an operator. So operators will be joined using the keyword pipe method. Okay, this is the pipe method. In this pipe method, we will be adding an operator. So one of the operator is map operator. Okay, map operator will receive this count. So this map should be imported from the RxJS. So here you'll be able to see map, and at the top you will be able to see map. It is imported from the RxJS. So map, it will receive the count here, and in this one what you will try to do is, so this count is also of type number. So naming conventions are very much important. Now what I will try to do is, here I will try to return count into or plus 2. That's it. Sorry, count plus 2. So what is the problem here we are having? Count of number dot pipe map count plus 2. Cannot find count. Cannot find observable dot pipe of count. What is this happening? Let's try to wrap it here. Yeah. So now here we are having a count of type number. Okay, if you don't mention it also, it's okay, fine. Why? Because we are already sending this one, so it will be able to understand. So count, we are getting it as a number, and what I am trying to do, I am trying to do the count plus 2, and this one I am returning, and now this count plus 2 will be returned to the subscription. Now if you try to see the output, what could be the output? Let's try to see. So first one will be 2, 0 plus 2, 1 plus 2, 3. So 2 plus 2, like this. So we are able to see all the data. Okay. So like this, all the data which we are, so actually the observable is not returning the 2, 3, 4 like this. The observable is returning actually 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But in between we have added operator in such a way that we are modifying the observable data and we are sending it to the subscribe. Now another thing what I want to do is, so we can also apply the multiple filters to this one. So after mapping, so you can also apply another operator. So for example, I want to apply a filter. So here you will get the count value. Okay, so this filter is also should be imported from the RxJS. Okay, it is imported from the RxJS. Now in this filter, what I can do is, so return count greater than 10. So I have written a logic in such a way that it should be, count should be greater than 10. Now I will try to see, I will try to show the output. Now you are here, you will be able to see the output is, oh sorry, count should be less than 10. So greater than 10 means all the time it will be right. So now, or otherwise if you try to wait also, it will be okay. So if you wait for some time, for 10 seconds we need to wait. Then afterwards from 12 onwards you will try to get. Why? Because I am telling that I want to get only the data which is greater than 10. So you will be able to get something around from 12, 13, 14, like that. So see, from 11 onwards I am able to receive the data. Previously I was not able to receive, I was able to receive the data from 0, 1, 2, 3. Now what has happened here is observable is sending the data 0. It was sent into the map operator 0, and 0 was incremented with 2. So 0 plus 2, that is nothing but 2, and this one will be sent to the filter 2 value, and it will check that 2 is greater than 10 or not. It is not greater than 10. It has been skipped off. Now again observable send the data of 1, 1 plus 2, 3, and this one will be sent to the filter. Filter will check that it is count is greater than 10 or not. 3 is not greater than 10. Like that it will go on. Observable will send the data. It will go to the map operator. It will add with 2, and it will go to the filter operator. It will check that whether it is greater than 10 or not. So like this. So if you want to, you can add another filter also like this. So you can add multiple filters using the comma oriented like this. And now when all the operators are successfully finished, then only you will get the data. Okay, in between this one you can do like this, like these things. Okay, so this is about the operators concept in the observables. So this is all about the observables concept. If you go into this one, so we have understood about the RxJS operators and all those things. Subject we can leave it. So subject is nothing but emitters thing only. I will try to tell you whenever I get time. So this is all about the observable. So we have seen about the RxJS operators like map and filter. So there are so many operators are there. So which each one does the different job. So there is no need to think of that one. So this is all about the observable. So observable will try to send the data, and observable will try to subscribe to the data, so that observable sends the data, it will receive the data. And RxJS operators in between this one. So it will do some manipulations, whatever the manipulations you want. You can use the appropriate operator and you can do the manipulation. And you can filter the data, or otherwise you can multiply the data, whatever the thing you want. So you can do using the operators, and we can do this one. So this is all about the observables concept. Let's move on to the another concept, that is nothing but a forms. So now the forms concept. So forms concept means nothing but what I can say is we already handled this, in our sessions and all those things. If you try to see, so we have seen so many form handling, like getting the data, form data, receiving the data, and all those things we have did, right? So in Angular, the forms handling will be done with the 2 different ways. Okay, in any other frameworks we don't have a separate handling of these forms. So you can normally handle normally how you will be handling in the JavaScript or jQuery or HTML, you will be handling like that only. Whereas in this Angular, we will be having a particular design pattern that is nothing but template driven forms and reactive driven forms. The name itself indicates template driven forms means, so the forms will be handled by the template in the template itself. Reactive driven forms means if you want to have some reactive nature and all those things, so we will be using this reactive driven forms. So first we'll try to learn about the template driven forms. So which will be handling with the template only. So let's try to create a component. So template form, I am creating a component template form. So let's try to generate it. By the time, so let's try to create a routing module here. I am creating a routing module, and here I am creating a template form, and here I can write if it is created template form component. It's not created, maybe it should be created. Yeah, it's asking created template form. Whenever user comes to template form, I want to open template form component. Let's go to the app navigation. Where is this navigation? Yeah, here it is, navigation, right? Let's go to this HTML, and here I can write, so whoever comes to the template form, and here we need to have template form. Okay, so this is about the template form. Now I will go to the template form.component.ts. So this is the template form, and this is the HTML. So let's try to design a form. So I am designing a form here. So you all know about this one, how to design a form. Now here I will be having a name, and here you will be having an input. This input is not created, so I can have an input. Type is equal to text, class is equal to form control. So these are all bootstrap classes only. So I can create another form. Label, email, email, and here I can have input type is equal to email and name is equal to email. That's it. I can keep it. So now here I can have another one. So I can have another form my-3. So here I can have a label, or otherwise we'll try to keep it minimal. So we'll have it in email, name and email. So here I can have my-3, and I will be having a button. So this is a button. Let's say that we'll be having an ad. Now this is our form. So up to now we haven't used this form element up to now. So now we are using this form element. Now let's go to into this one. Let's close this one on. Here is our template form, and here we are able to see the template form. If I go here and if I try to add class is equal to form-control, let's try to add it. Now if I try to see the output, so we are able to see name and email. Now I click on the button. Now let's try to see the inspect element. So template driven forms. Now whenever the user submits these forms, I want to receive the data. So how can I receive the data is, for example, this is a button, right? So here what I can do, let's try to implement class is equal to btn primary. Now when this form is submitted, submitted means submit, you'll be having an ng submit. Okay, when this form is submitted, on submit click or something like this, I'll be having a method. We will be creating a method for this one. Now let's go to this. Where is this template form? Yeah, here. Let's go to this component file, and here I will be creating on submit click. Okay, so this is thing. Now what I want to do is here, so template, as this one is a template driven form, so when you are having a template driven form, each one should have a name. So name is equal to email. Sorry, this one is a name, right? Name is equal to name, and here name is equal to email. So you need to have a specific unique name for this one, name. And another one, what you need to do is you need to bind an ng model to this one. So why? Because it is an ng form control, so you need to bind ng model. That's it. So now in order to have a, so you are adding this which control, which input element you want to add it in the model form, you need to create an ng, you need to add an ng model to this one. So that please add this one into the form control also. So in the form group also, we are trying to say to the Angular. So some of the elements you don't want to add it into your input into the form control, right? So for those things you don't need to mention. So you need to mention it as an ng model. So that's it. So this is the template driven form. Now here what I want to mention is, so here you need to mention a template reference. So this is our form. So you can mention whatever the name you want, you can mention it, hash form. We already seen how to catch this template reference using the view child. So I have given it as a hash form. Now I can receive this hash form here. Okay, I can receive this hash form into this one, or otherwise let's try to keep it as a f only, or otherwise you can keep a form also. So we can send this template into this one. So on submit click, if you go into this one and if you try to send, so here you are getting some form data. So let's keep it as an any, and let's try to console.log of form. What will be the output? You will get it. So if you try to see the output, so we received this one all, and if I try to click on this one, console, if I try to click on this one, see we are able to get this form element. Why? Because I already told you view child, in the view child we have seen it, right? So for example, if you don't want to send this one into this one, so you can remove this one, hash form you have used it, and I can remove this form any here, and I can use the @view child, @view child I can use it, and I need to mention that preference name form, and here I can write sign up form, whatever the name you want it. So let's try to make it as an any, so we don't know that one, right? Or otherwise previously we used to make it as an element ref. Okay, if you remember exactly, so this one is of type element ref. Now if you want to console.log this dot sing up form, I have written sing up form, not sing up form, sign up form, console.log of sign up form, and that also this dot, we need to use this dot sign up form. That's it. Now if you try to see the output, the same thing happens here, the same thing. So we have written in a different way. That's it. The same thing happens. If I click on this one, what happened? So I have used this sign up form. Oh, this one is still saving. What happened to this one? Yeah, I don't know why is that saving. So now if I say try to see here, we are able to see about the native element. So but we can access this one inside the native element. So previously we accessed it directly. So like we are getting an element ref. So now what I want to do is, so in our Angular, it's not component itself is not moving. Yeah. So in our what I can say, template driven form. So you can, so this one is an HTML element. Okay. So we can convert this one to an ng form. So you need to mention that this is not of type. Defaultly it is an HTML element. You are telling that this is not an HTML element. There are some ng models assigned to this one. I want to get those things only. Ng form. Ng form is nothing but a wrapper in the Angular present for a form thing. So it will carry some extra additional properties related to this ng model. These are all the things using these all the things it will try to carry. So now let's try to see it. Now if you go here, so this is not of type element ref. It is of type ng form. Okay, we have mentioned it as an ng form. Now ng form is there. Now let's try to see the sign up form. When you try to see this one as a sign up form, now if you try to see here, if I click here, if I try to click here, see now I got this one not as an element ref, now as an ng form. So ng form will schedule the data differently. So this is our form. So in this we are having a form controls of email and name. So you'll be able to see this one, email and name we are having. So now what are the values we will be having means you will be having a value here. So total email and name is empty. So for example, if I try to add something value to this one, and if I click add, so now here you will be able to see values, and the values are email and name here. The values what I have entered, I am able to get it. And valid means this form is valid or not. Yes, it is valid. So validators, nothing, no validators are there for this one. So whether it is touched or not. Touched means, so for example, let's say that I didn't touch this form. So first time I didn't touch any of the form controls here. I directly clicked on this add. So this time it is touched means it is not touched. So untouched will be true. And here somewhere you will be having a touch. Touched will be false. So when I touch in this one, okay. Now this time touched will be true and untouched is false. Why? Because I have touched some of the elements here. Now if I try to see here, so touched will be true and the untouched will be false. Previously it was false and true like this. Valid will be true. So status is valid. So valid means nothing but the total form is valid. We are able to take it. If we have some validators thing means it will be invalid. So like this you will be having some set of data. Okay. So here you will be having a controls. In this one we are having two controls for which we have appended ng model. So those things, email and name, we have added ng model, right? So those things are coming as a controls. In return, this email also will have their own properties. That is nothing but an valid, it is true or not, untouched, like this you will be having a values. So this is all about the template driven form. This is how you will be getting the data. Now if you want to capture the data means how you can capture is this dot sign up form dot value. Okay, you can capture the values. Now if you try to see, I clicked on this add thing. So now these both are, you are getting it as empty. Why? Because these both are empty. Now if I try to click enter, now I am able to get the values. So this is how we can get the values in the template driven form. This is about the template driven forms. Now if you want to add a validations to this template driven form, how can we add the validations? For example, let's say that these both are required field, so it should not be empty. So here you can add a required. Okay, so all the things are related to the template only. Okay, so required field, and this should be a valid email, so you can have a email attribute. Okay, so pattern also you can use the pattern, min length, max length, these are all the things you can use it. So now required and email. So now if you try to see the output, so now I have written something, here email is not a valid. If you try to click on this one, you are able to get this one. Okay, let's try to print this sign up form also, then you'll understand. Console.log this dot sign up form. Okay, now if I try to press enter, let's try to press enter before clicking. Now here I am trying to see these all the details. I click on edit add. So here ng form, we know that this form is not valid. Why? Because email is not a valid email. Now if you try to see, Is this one is a valid? False. Yes, correct. It's not a valid thing. Now if you want to see each control, which one is a valid, which one, now control name is valid or not. Yes, name is a valid thing. So here if you go into this one and if you try to check, valid is valid. Then if email is valid or not, if you want to check here, if you want to check, so here if you go into inside this one, you can check that valid, false. Yes, this one is false, so email is not a valid one. Now we can have this button disabled whenever this form is invalid. Whenever this one is valid only, we want to enable this form. How can we do it is, in the template form.html, I can have a disabled attribute here. So when this form, so that means form dot valid, so when this form is not valid, then this should be true. Okay, that's it. Now if you try to see the output, so first time this one will be disabled, we cannot access this button. Now if I try to add some data into this one, see immediately the form has become valid, the button has become valid. If I click here, I am able to click it. Now this form is valid one. So we can add a condition in such a way that when this form is valid only, we can able to remove the disabled thing. So this form is coming from this variable template thing. We already discussed in the template variables about this one. How can we use this one? Template scope also we have seen. This variable will not be accessed in the ngIf template like that. So these are all the things we will be using. Now this is about the thing. Now I want to add a something like, for example, let's say that now here I am able to see, if I click on this one, okay fine, so this one I have written the data, but still this one is not disabled, this one is not enabling. I want to show the user that which form is having an error. I want to show a validation, so that means I need to show a red color border for this one. So how can we show here is, if you try to see this one, the elements, Angular will attach the classes to this one. If you try to see here, ng-dirty, ng-valid, ng-valid is the class, it is applied to this one. So that means it is a valid form. Now if you try to see this element, email, a classes are attached, that is nothing but ng-invalid. Okay, ng-invalid. So ng-invalid for any input elements which are having ng-invalid, we can apply a border color of red. So let's go to the CSS. And here I can add input element which is having ng-invalid. This should be border 1 pixel solid red. So now if I try to see the output, first time if you will be able to see both are red in color. So that means both are invalid. So first time I don't want to show it. Whenever it is touched, then only I need to show it. So now you can add another class will be attached to this one. Dot ng-touched also. So let's try to add a condition ng-touched. So input element which is having an invalid and also touched, then we need to show. So first time it will not show anything. If I touch here, if I come out, see it is showing red color. Now if I try to write anything, it went away. Now if I touch here, if I come out, so it is in red color. That means we are able to understand that okay, this one is not a valid one. If I write something, still it is in red color. If I write something here, now the red color has went away. So like this we can show the validation error. So we can highlight the error. Now if I try to remove this one, again this one will be in the red color. If I try to add it again, this one will go away. So that the user can able to understand this one. Now another thing what I want to tell you is, here I want to write a message, something like please enter email. I want to show the message. I want to show user a validation message. So let's try to write here template HTML, and here I will write span class is equal to help text, please enter email. Okay, now if I want to check it, so first time it is showing please enter email, so I don't want to show it at the first time. I want to show when we are getting a red color, I want to show this message, please enter email. So how can I show it is, this one is, so here I can write a condition ngIf when the form dot controls, in the controls you will be having an email, right? Email is there, and also form dot controls dot email is there, and also form dot controls, I didn't remember exactly, the form dot controls dot email dot invalid. Oh, this one will become so much big. I will try to tell you easy form. So here you are having an email, right? So you can write something like hash email is equal to ng model. You can mention it like this, and you can take this one email and you can write here email dot touched, and also something like this we can write a condition, and also email dot invalid. So if it is an invalid, then only show this one, so we can use it like this instead of using that form. So where I was trying to get that one is, I will try to show you. If I click on that, we are able to get this form, right? So here I am trying to do form dot controls dot email. Okay, that is the thing previously I used to write form dot controls dot email, and I am trying to check inside this email when it is touched. Where is the touched thing? Somewhere it will be. When it is untouched, touched also it will be there, and also valid. So this one is valid, so then only I need to show that one. So now first time if you try to see here, okay, we are not able to show it. So for example here, so there, okay, fine. If I try to show here, see, immediately I'm able to show this one. So if I try to enter anything, immediately that error will go away. So I am trying to check in that you need to traverse that object. So if you try to see that object, then you will try to understand when the email is touched, or otherwise when the email is dirty also we can do. Dirty means nothing but it has changed, so some value has been changed, and email is invalid. So when the email is invalid only, then only we need to show it. So this one also you can do it in a short form like this, or otherwise you can go to the form dot controls dot email. So we have seen it, right? That one also you need to travel so much deep, you need to go. Okay, form dot controls dot email. So here you will be having the what I can say, what you can keep it like this, anything you can keep it like this. So like this you need to go form dot controls of email, and again you need to do form dot emails dot controls, something like this you need to go. I didn't, so that one is a very big one. If you want, you can also mention it like this. So for example, I went into this one, cannot use reading undefined. Okay, it is coming as undefined. Why is not form or what? Form is ng form. Form dot controls, I didn't remember exactly, so we need to check it in the template forms. So normally we will be doing like that only, template forms, template driven forms, validations. If we try to see, so now that form will be very big object. How to validate template driven forms? If you want to check it, so we can check it in anywhere you want, you can see it. So this is email is required. So like this we are right now we are trying to see it, right? So somewhere he will try to write where is the tunnel you have written. So they are trying to use it using the directives. We have already learned about the directives concept. Somewhere they will be writing, where is the template? Yeah, here, see, now they have used this hash name is equal to model. So you can use it whatever the name you want, you can use. So name dot touch or register is submitted, and so you can use the conditions like this. So they have used it like this hash name only, they haven't used this form dot something like that. So we can use like that also, and we can use it like this also. That one is very much big, we need to debug that object, or otherwise we can use, most probably we'll be using this one only. Why? Because this one will be very easy. So when this email is touched and when this email is invalid, then only we will be showing this one. So this is how we will be writing the email validations. So only through this one only we will be writing the email validation. So min length, max length, these are all the things also you can check it. So this is how we will be working on the template driven forms. This is all about the template driven forms. So like this we will be writing the validations. Now you got the data in the template form. So sign up dot value, and you can send it this value to wherever you want, to the backend or anything, and you can do the manipulations. So when this, so this one also when you need to do is when this dot sign up form dot valid. So then if it is valid only, then you need to print this one, or otherwise you need to tell here console.log form is not valid. So the form when it is valid only you need to show. So like this condition also you need to write, then only you can do it. So now for example, if you don't have let's say that you don't have this disable thing, now the user wants to touch it. So for example, let's say that I want to submit this one, I want to submit this one. So you need to tell that form is not valid. Why? Because you need to not you should not submit it this form. Why? Because the form is not valid. Now you are still having a red color. These are all the things. Now I am trying to press on add button. So now you need to tell that form is not valid. So like this you need to tell. Where is this one? So here this one it should go to here, not into this one. So here it will be submitting to the database and all those things. So like this you need to do the template driven forms. So like this we will be doing the template driven forms. In tomorrow's session, what we'll try to learn is we'll try to learn about the reactive forms also. So reactive forms and pipes also will try to complete it. So reactive forms and also the pipes also I will try to complete. I will complete reactive forms. Then afterwards we'll complete the HTTP request and HTTP interceptors. These all things I will complete next session. So by that we'll be completing.